Welcome to Taking Healthy Back with Maria, with your host, Maria Malec, experience coach, conscience educator, and destination retreat host, presents to you countless ways to overcome an overwhelmed, overprocessed, and overmedicated lifestyle. She'll be covering everything wellness, from getting more from life than you put into it, destination retreats to healthy cooking and conscious education. So please welcome the host of Taking Healthy Back with Maria.
Happy Friday, Wellness Seekers. So happy to be back. I have a great show for you today on Taking Healthy Back with Maria, and I'm your host, Maria Malec. So happy to be here, and I hope you are too. We have Dan Gormley today as our guest. He is a positive intelligence coach. What is that? The title of our show today is Minds in Motion, a Mental Fitness Revolution. I really believe there is a revolution for us to get back to our minds. So, are you feeling overwhelmed, constantly doubting yourself, or stuck in negative thought patterns? In this episode today, we dive into positive intelligence to help you take control of your mind and emotions. Discover how to silence your 10 negative saboteurs, like the inner critic or the hyperachiever. That fuels stress and anxiety. And then also learn how to build your 5 sage powers to foster resilience, clarity, and joy. It's time to take a break from self-sabotage, don't you think? And unlock a more balanced, empowered version of yourself. Welcome, Dan. Happy to have you here with me.
Well, thank you, Maria. It's happy to be here.
Yeah, so Dan and I met through a collective called Listening to Smile Frequency Music. And both of us are using it in a manner to help people get more balance their whole body systems, and especially get more settled and peace of mind. And Dan, this is a big thing right now, don't you think? I think more than ever, because of our food, pharmaceuticals, overstimulation, overwhelm, it is really making it hard for us to think clearly. So, really happy you're doing what you're doing. And tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into this and why it is so important today.
Yeah, well, that's a really interesting story. 42 years of working in the IT industry. So, as a developer, programmer, project manager, and then I became an Agile coach, where I actually would work on teams developing software. So, very left brain type work.
Mm-hmm.
Types of things where I was very logical minded, um, always thinking about solutions and working with teams trying to develop the best software, right? So I retired about 5.5 years ago. And of course, really kind of wondered what I was going to do with my life at that retirement juncture. I have 5 children, my wife, Maria.
Me,
Uh,
me too. I
yeah,
have 5 kids. That's crazy.
you have 5 children too? Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah. And my name's
Uh,
Maria.
yeah, and uh, and we homeschool them too. So since COVID, so it's
Wow.
been pretty busy. So kids were sent home during COVID, and the challenge of teaching them. But we started to see how they started developing with homeschooling. And so
Mm-hmm.
we've never sent them back. So we continue that effort. But about a year ago, I ran into an opportunity to become a PQ coach, or positive intelligence coach.
Mm-hmm.
Positive intelligence is all about trying to train your mind, and it's all about mental fitness. And so I could really relate to it because I was very left brain, kind of Mr. Spock from Star Trek kind of mindset. Okay, and even times my wife and children, they would tell me, Dad, you're not really present with us.
Mm.
It seems like your mind is off on other things. When I would come out of work, I would be thinking about problems and challenges and things like that, rather than being there and present with my family. So I found
Really?
positive. Yeah, so I found positive intelligence, and or it found me somehow.
I swear I was just going to say that. It
Yeah,
found you.
yeah, I think it found me on LinkedIn. Who would have thought, right? And so there was Shazad Shamin, who is the creator and wrote a book on positive intelligence. He's a brilliant man. He has degrees in psychology. He's a real MIT nerd, a graduate from MIT, and uh, and then Stanford Business School. So he's run the full gamut. But he created a system or an app called Positive Intelligence. He wrote a best-selling book, Positive Intelligence, and so he decided that his calling was to train coaches because he wanted to spread the word of
Yes.
positive intelligence across to as many people worldwide as he possibly could. And he had previously been uh, CEO of one of the largest coaching organizations in the world. And he left that to create this positive intelligence coaching practice.
Hmm.
And he gifts this to coaches worldwide. And so
Wow.
I was part of cohort 14 back in May of last year. And I've been doing this ever since. And it's what it's all about is we all grow up and spend most of our lives in our left brain, which is our um, fight or flight brain. Okay.
Okay.
And so
Good to
we
know.
have, yeah, so he identified 10 saboteurs, one of the most powerful saboteurs and really kind of the cause of the other 9 accomplice saboteurs is the judge. And so the judge judges ourself harshly and sometimes others, okay, depending upon who you are
Mhm.
and your personality. But I think we can all relate to the judge. Um,
Sure.
I mean, it does cause a lot of grief and strife to all of us. And then it activates as many as 9 accomplice saboteurs. So he created this system. It's actually an app that you can download to your phone. And
Hmm.
so it delivers video instruction to anybody that wants to take this class. And uh, it takes about 7 weeks to go through it.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, it sounds overwhelming, but it's not at all. It's actually quite simple. Once you download the app to your iPhone or analog or Android phone, I should say, it is really quite easy. Every week on Saturday, a new video becomes available to you. It's about an hour long. So you
Oh,
watch that
that's
video.
easy.
Yeah, it's from the creator Shazad Shamin, and he does hour-long videos every Saturday. Um,
So
and
is this your is this the certification or just learning about it?
This is learning about it, Maria.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so as a coach, yes, I had to go through a much more extensive process.
I
But
would think.
yeah, they first bring you through the 7 week course, but then there's a lot of training and a lot of support from their organization as a
Okay.
coach. Um, but it's wonderful. I've actually brought my 5 children through it, and it's amazing because it'll introduce you to each one of the saboteurs so that you can quickly identify the saboteur. And then we use a technique called PQ reps, which is a guided meditation exercise. And
Okay.
so the guided meditation is not too different from uh, different types of meditation that we're all familiar with. But one of those things is me as an IT guy with a very strong rational mind. I could never get meditation to work. I didn't understand it.
Okay.
My mind just, uh, just didn't
Wants
accept
to
it.
control, right?
Yeah,
Your mind wants to
exactly.
control things.
Absolutely. So PQ reps, I could get them. And then the other thing that's beautiful about PQ reps is it can be as simple as just rubbing your fingertips together in such a way where you actually feel the ridges on your fingers.
Yeah.
Okay. And so this is something that you can do immediately as soon as you see that you're being hijacked by either your judge or any one of your other saboteurs. And the funny thing about it is when you start doing this,
hmm
it stops your monkey mind. It,
Wow, that's so
yeah,
simple.
it is
Wow.
very simple. And so it's really getting in touch with your body's senses is,
Literally.
yeah, is literally. And so many people that I've introduced PQ reps to that
hmm
are familiar with meditation and everything else, they report back to me that the beauty of PQ reps is the fact that you can do it right now at any point. Like, let's say you're working, you can just move your hands underneath the table, rub your fingertips together, and
In
you know,
public, in a meeting, so
yeah,
people don't know that you need to self-regulate,
yeah,
right? Wow.
absolutely.
So
It's it's extremely powerful, Maria.
let me ask you. So this app teaches you all these things, or
Yes.
oh wow. So the PQ
Mhm.
reps are just like a fitness thing, going through um different skills or methods to self-regulate and to
Mhm.
and here's the thing, do we want to kill the saboteurs or do we want to quiet them? I mean, aren't the saboteurs a signal that something needs attention?
Absolutely, it is.
So they're
And
not
so,
they're not necessarily bad, but
right,
you have to manage them.
right. We say that uh, Shirzad likens it to putting your hand on a hot stove.
hmm
So you put your hand on a hot stove, and of course, your senses quickly recognize that you need to pull your hand off quickly. All right.
Right.
So you really want to do the same thing with your saboteurs. Once you recognize that saboteur, you want to stop the saboteur because really the saboteur is an alert mechanism. It's telling
hmm
you that something needs attention, exactly what you just said, Maria. So the alerts are wonderful. But if we focus and we dwell upon it, it's a waste of our time and it's a waste of our mental energy.
Right.
Okay. Yes. So what we then do is we do the PQ rep, we stop that saboteur, and then what we try to do, we actually learn how to switch over to our alternative right brain
Mm.
and our sage or Zen powers.
Right,
And
right.
so many of us that practice meditation or are musicians or artists have already developed our right brain pretty well, right?
Sure, sure.
So, and if we're regular meditators, we can get into that Zen state, right? So, but the trick here is that you don't need a meditation room. You don't need a quiet space. Really, what you need is mental fitness and mind control to be able to stop those saboteurs when they attack.
Right.
Or
And redirect and
Mhm.
whatnot. What is the name of the app again? Because I want to go
It's
on this
actually, yeah, it's actually called a PQ app.
Oh,
You actually have to go to positiveintelligence.com to actually download the app.
okay.
And yeah, so it's not like a readily available app like
Right.
Calm or something like that on the App Store.
Sure.
You have to work through a coach like myself to get the app and sign up for the program.
Oh,
Um,
okay. I gotcha.
yeah, yeah. So
Gosh, I have so many questions.
fire away.
How, so many questions, but which one to ask first?
I
Uh,
know, right?
how do you use the frequency music? Is that part of your a PQ rep?
Um, it's not. I actually met Ian, uh, and uh, and so what I'm trying to do with Ian is try to introduce Ian to Shirzad Shamin to try to see if he can uh,
That in the app?
incorporate the music in the app. Yeah, I think that would be a tremendous opportunity. So we're kind of trying to work on getting Shirzad's ear, and
Yeah.
they're actually going through a beta revision of the app right now, and so I'm
Mhm.
part of that beta group. And
That's
so
cool.
so they built that out, but they haven't incorporated any kind of frequency music yet. But I think that would be a wonderful addition
It's
and really powerful.
amazing. Yeah,
Yeah,
because really, in my opinion, we need to be living a full sensory life. That's why we have all our senses. And incorporating all these different senses into, if you will, managing our lives just really enhances purpose, it enhances intentionality, and living a meaningful life. I think that's really what our lives are about, is how much meaning we can bring to ourselves, bring to each other, bring to our environment. And with that statement, Dan, we have a commercial break coming up here, and we'll be right back. And
all
we'll
right,
get more into the sensory living.
all right, sounds
Stay tuned.
beautiful.
Thank you.
So then what happens is your body will start signaling you by getting inflammation or having an acne outbreak or something like that. So that is where, again, the fruit comes in, because fruits have the astringent power to help break up the stagnant mucus in the body. And it's the citrus fruits that really do that. So you're not going to be having an attack of like where you would just have, let's say, like if you were drinking Sunny D or that kind of juice. So that's
Right.
something I tell people. And if you are concerned about the sugar intake, you can also dilute juices like with a coconut water. But again, I've been doing juicing for many years, and juicing was the catalyst for my transformation. And I do both fruit and green juices, but I would say it's probably like a 50-50 between the fruit and greens. So I always tell people it's really important to make sure you also get your grains in as well, because you want to make sure that you're getting those minerals as well.
And
Mhm.
we don't have a special chute that chemicals leave our body. So they get lodged in our organs, in our fat tissues, in our connective tissue. And when people think that they're doing all the right things, but they're still sad or they're still having erratic emotions, anger, even, it's because of those kinds of things that we're not even making the connection. Welcome back, everybody. We're with Dan Gormley, a positive intelligence coach, and we're talking about positive intelligence and living a full sensory life and being able to effortlessly manage our emotions and our minds and our brains. So, welcome back, Dan. So let's talk more about this full sensory life. How do you feel that the positive intelligence lends to that? Do you work with people who just want to escape and suppress and avoid? Um, what kind of people are you working with, and how are you helping them?
Well, one of the some of the people I've worked with were actually publishers of Natural Awakenings magazine. They were my first
Whoa,
sponsor. Yeah, so I had 8 publishers from different cities across the United States, and what a wonderful group of people they were for my first experience as a
that's
coach.
cool.
Yeah, it was wonderful. So that's how I met Ian and eventually yourself and some others. Um, but how I can help them is actually publishing is a very intensive work. Just managing the magazine and articles and everything that goes into publishing, as well as distribution and all those things. Um, I was placing an ad with their magazine, and they were
Hmm.
so interested uh, as they developed my ad and worked with me. They're like,
Nice.
"Wow, we want to take this." And so, how it helps them is all the different saboteurs that interfere with their daily schedule, things,
Mm.
tangents, procrastination, all those saboteurs that interfere with us, that are all fear based in our left brain. They just come and get in our way all the time, and they suck up so much time. So I taught them, brought them through the program and taught them PQ reps. And there, you can go to the app, and there's all kinds of different guided meditation for different sensory things as well.
Mm. Good.
It's not just rubbing your fingers together, it's closing your eyes, it's breathing, it's listening, it's some are visual PQ reps, um, even eating, chewing, and just being more mindful about what we're eating. We've had reports of people that have taken the course where they've lost 100 pounds just eating more mindfully and
Wow.
practicing PQ reps through chewing and enjoying their food.
Can
So,
can you give us an example of the eating thing? Because I'm sure that has piqued a lot of ears about losing weight because it's such a big thing right now. Especially with everyone taking these Ozempic shots to lose
yeah,
weight and not really knowing the long term um, maybe pitfalls of doing that.
yeah.
I'm interested myself in how mindfully eating can curtail weight gain.
Well, obviously, those of us that probably watch your channel uh, and work with Natural Awakenings, holistic magazines, and that uh, we're all conscious about what we put in our body. So the first thing is be mindful about the organic food and staying away from toxins and just trying to eat uh, you know more mindfully and select the foods that are important to us. Okay, so that is very important. But as far as the actual act of eating, it really is just using your sense of smell, uh, visualization, looking at and appreciating the beauty of what you've
Mhm.
prepared, preparing your meals with love and
Mhm.
attention to detail, right? Um, you know, Making sure that it's colorful. We all know that when we eat food that's colorful, it's usually healthy, right? You
Mhm.
know, not talking about red meat.
And we're not talking about Cheetos either or
Right.
Doritos.
That's right. Yes, not that orange color that gets all over your fingers. But so obviously selecting and choosing the right foods is important. But then when you're actually eating is the chewing and being more mindful and present about what you're eating and what you're chewing
Mhm.
and chewing it thoroughly before you swallow and having gratitude for your
Mhm.
food and all those things is what I mean when it comes to eating more mindfully.
Sure.
So um, uh, this is not an area really of my expertise, but
Mm-hmm.
uh, but what I will tell you is uh, it's it's one of the areas in which I do know other PQ coaches that actually specialize in weight loss um, and uh, and more about what you're talking about. So if you are interested in or anybody watching the program, I can always forward you to a PQ coach that actually specializes on nutrition and diet. My niche is more going after IT people,
Mm-hmm.
parents, fathers specifically.
Oh,
Um,
wow. Okay.
yeah, the guys that kind of had the same problem as myself that would come home from work, the provider of the family, came home, wasn't present with his wife or his family,
Mm-hmm.
and just really didn't get the real importance of work-life balance,
Mm-hmm.
workaholic. My saboteurs of hyperachiever
Mm.
um, and
Yeah.
hyper rational. Those were two of my big uh, saboteurs. So being able to recognize those when they reared their ugly heads, um, you
Did you
know,
say hyper rational?
hyper rational. Yeah. So hyper
What's that
rational
mean?
means that you're very logical
Okay.
and not very emotional about things. So yeah,
Oh.
so you have it. And what I'd invite everybody to do that's watching this is you can go to positiveintelligence.com uh, /saboteurs, and you can take a free saboteur assessment. And it'll ask you to enter in your email address. It takes about 10 minutes to go through it. And it'll send you back a rating of what saboteurs you have and how intense they are on a scale from 1 to 10. And
Okay.
it's absolutely fascinating.
I
And
took it and I gotta get back and look at it again now that we're having this conversation.
yeah, it's
Yeah, it
it's
was an
it's
easy
amazing.
test.
Yeah. So, and I actually offer a free assessment.
Mhm.
Anybody can take that assessment, and then they just forward it on to my email address, which maybe we can post.
Sure.
Um, and or they can give me a call, and then I can bring them through. I actually will go through a 1 hour free Zoom session with them, and we'll
Uh-huh.
go through that saboteur assessment. And if that's the only thing that you do with me, it's worth it because it's amazing what we find out about ourselves and our saboteurs. Um, and then if you're interested in taking the 7 week course, uh, you can do that with me. We can download the app, and then what we do once we teach you how to stop those saboteurs, then the real value comes is when we do that mind shift over to your sage mind and the
Mm,
5 sage powers that you talked about at the introduction. And so the 5 sage powers are, the first one's really important is empathy, and having empathy for yourself or others is a really important first step. So we say you have to put the oxygen mask on you first
right,
before you can help others. And so a lot of times we find ourselves helping others
right.
and
More
ignoring
than
ourselves.
ourselves.
Yeah, we don't take care of ourselves. And there's a saboteur called the pleaser, and that's one of my big saboteurs too. I mean, it's a wonderful saboteur to have, but sometimes when we try to please others, um, it, we want to make sure it comes with unconditional love. Usually the pleaser is conditional. It'll be like, well, I'll do
Mm,
something for you, but it'd be nice if you do something back for me. Okay. And so that's when the pleaser isn't so nice. Okay. And so that's an important life lesson to learn.
mm-hmm.
But to what we try to do is get you over into your sage mindset, that beautiful sage Zen set, and really work on empathy first for ourselves. We actually in the program go through a visualization that's very powerful. We ask you to bring a picture of yourself as a child when you were about
Mm,
3 years, and when you were young and innocent and beautiful, and you haven't been corrupted by the world or your parents, right? And so you look at your essence of who you once were, and going through that exercise, many people have just had incredible aha moments, and it just brings people back. It's a very emotional part of the program.
mm. I would love to bring to attention that I feel we live in a world that's always trying to turn off all the bad and avoid pain or avoid hard
Mhm.
lessons. And I believe that, everyone is going to experience pain. And we suffer because our current situation doesn't meet our expectations or where we would like to be. And I believe that's where we suffer in between. And that it's not about not ever having pain or hard times or trauma or whatever, but it's about navigating through it, releasing the density of it and getting into flow. What's your thought on that?
Well, you just talked about one of the sage powers. Uh,
Ah,
I just talked about empathy. The next one is explore.
mhm,
And so explore is being as curious. They describe it as being like an anthropologist, in which you're just being very curious. So that's the explore mode. Many of us kind of lose that power as we get older. You find it in children.
hmm,
Children are extremely curious and explore and want to learn. They want to see what's underneath that rock, right?
sure.
Yeah. So explore is the next power. Then there's innovate.
Okay.
Innovation is brainstorming, and
Mhm,
we play a game called Yes and. And as you come up with ideas, the next person that you're working with, maybe myself as your coach, you
mhm.
may have a beautiful idea, but maybe I don't agree with that idea. But rather than discourage you and say, yes, but we change that yes to yes and. So, because
Yeah.
every idea usually has at least 10% that's good. Okay. So
Mm,
you focus
okay.
on that. Yeah, you focus on that 10% that's good, and you say, yes, I love that 10% about what you said about that idea. And you add something additional to that. And that just really triggers brainstorming in a wonderful and creative and loving way.
So
Very encouraging.
imagination, engaging our imagination
Yes, yes. And so
and vision.
that's your sage power of innovation through brainstorming. And then to the point you just made, navigate. How do
Okay.
we navigate it? Okay, so that is the fourth sage power, navigation. And so what we do is we take all those ideas from your innovation sessions, uh, you know, and
Mhm.
we figure out which one of those ideas bubbles up to the top is the next one I really want to work on. And we use our navigate power to figure out what steps, break that down into smaller incremental steps and make them achievable. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And do you feel that positive intelligence is really about self mastery,
Oh,
knowing,
absolutely.
knowing thyself?
It is. It is for sure. And in fact, these steps that I've just talked you through are steps that we actually use as coaches to help somebody that we're coaching. We actually use those sage powers in the order in which I told you, and I save the best for last, and that's activate. So
Right.
once you've figured out navigation, how you want to do it,
Yeah.
and given yourself a roadmap, then activate is fierce action, and because it nothing happens until you activate, until you start
Yes.
taking action, right? And
Right. Until
sometimes
you
for us, that's
become
the hardest part.
intentional and specific about what you want to activate. Do you
Yeah.
find that people who are most resistant to this process is because they do not want to turn in, or they feel that if they start doing this exploration they're going to be reliving trauma, and perhaps their trauma is who they identify with? I know that's a bunch of questions rolled into one, but that
Beautiful.
that's my logical assessment of what that all means.
Yes. Well, what we find is that's why we structure the course the way it's structured, where before we even introduce the saboteurs, we teach you PQ reps. We teach you how to control your mind and stop your mind, your monkey mind, and and control your focus. And so the first week is all PQ reps. It's all guided meditation. Okay, it's teaching you that, and then the next week is the judge, and we spend a week on the judge, and then the following week we go through all the saboteurs.
Hmm.
But to your point, there is one saboteur that we call the victim. And so when you mentioned what you just did about trauma, um, the victim is a very common saboteur, and the victim is poor me. You know, I've lived my life. I may have health problems. I may have mental depression and other things that affect me deeply. And trust me, those are all real strong emotions and can devastate a person. So, by us focusing and concentrating on the saboteurs right up front and doing an assessment right out of the box, um, that prepares you to look at yourself personally. It's a personal profile, and then we give you the tools to be able to stop those saboteurs,
Right.
control them, and then we teach you the sage powers and actually coach you through those sage powers to teach you how to utilize those. We have little games to help you with each of those
Mhm.
sage powers, and by the end of the 7 week class, it's like there's not a person that goes through this that doesn't have some kind of a aha moment for
Breakthrough.
themselves, and
Right.
yeah, a tremendous breakthrough. So it's changed my life, and so that's why I do it. You know,
That's
it's
awesome. Dan, we have one more break. So we will wrap things up when we get back. So
okay.
stay tuned. Thank you.
Look forward to it.
Can you be a planner and still be flexible, a little carefree?
Absolutely. Listen, I am a planner who lives in an RV, travels the country full time, homeschools my kids, and runs a speaking and coaching business. I have four children, ages 6 months, 6 years, 8 years, and 12 years old. I have to be flexible, but I also have to plan. I have to know my schedule in advance. I have to visualize. I have to have a to do list. And I have to know that there's going to be some moments where things are going to get shifted. So I know what my non negotiables are every single day. I know what can be pushed out to another day or another week. And those are the things that you have to be clear on: what's non negotiable and what things can be shifted around and flexible.
I think that God had to redefine what his definition of leadership was, because if you look at the world's definition of leadership, very often it can be position or power or posture or position or and every time you look at how Jesus led, it was always servant-hearted leadership, and it's so
Servant
powerful.
leadership.
And it's like that means more to me as leadership. It started with me learning how to lead me well.
And I think leadership also means just being an example. Welcome back, everyone. We're talking with Dan Gormley, positive intelligence coach, and we're about to wrap things up now. But I wanted to ask Dan, what next? For anyone interested, we did put the website up that's below you right now. So I'm guessing people should start there. And
Yeah, yes, absolutely. With the saboteur assessment, um, it'll take them about 5-10 minutes to answer. I think it's 38 questions, and that'll let you know where you are with your saboteurs, which ones are the stronger ones. I would invite people to take some time, go through and read through the saboteur assessment, and then uh, they can reach out to me, and they can forward me their saboteur assessment via email, and then I'll book some time with them. It's a free hour with me. We'll go through your saboteur assessment, and that is in itself an aha moment for most people. It can be very emotional, um, but it can also be very gratifying to know that there is another option out there. We don't have to live in our fight and flight brain for our entire lives. There is an
agreed.
alternative, so I can teach people how to stop those saboteurs, move over into using your sage powers, and I can actually help coach you really on any subject that you would like coaching on, and it can go from sometimes it's career, sometimes it's relationships,
Mm-hmm.
uh, sometimes it's parenting. Uh, you know, I I have experience with all those things. I've been an IT professional, and that's kind of the equivalent of being an engineer.
Mm-hmm.
So I can help people get down to earth, get in touch with their feelings,
Like
their
that.
body, and really start making their ways to be self-actualized, right?
Sure. And I believe this really is for everyone. There's no niche for positive intelligence because we're all a part of the world. And I'm thinking, especially with our youth, this would be really good because I think there's so much out there with social media and we're comparing ourselves all the time to other people. I know I compare myself to other moms, when I was in that stage and like, oh, why am I not doing that? And, entrepreneurs or people who have to manage a team of people.
Yeah.
And this just seems like this is important, especially now. And honestly, Dan, you're so calm and soothing having this conversation with you. I actually feel really calm right now.
Well,
And I like even the one thing, if you take nothing away from this, is just learning how to get in touch with yourself to navigate through your life is an invaluable tool. And we are finished for today, and I am so grateful for this conversation. It has ignited me to reevaluate my own assessment, and after our conversation, it's a beautiful thing. Do you have any parting thoughts for our audience?
Yeah, well, one of the things I would invite everybody to do is take care of yourself and your mental fitness. We spend so much time on our physical being,
Yes.
and we just don't pay attention to our mental wellness and care. And this is not saying that mentally there's something wrong with you. That seems to
Absolutely.
be a real stigma. We have to get beyond that and just understand that this is this is mental fitness. Uh, this is really becoming your Zen self and the best version of yourself. Uh, you
Yes.
know,
That's
so
beautiful.
this is so important.
Yes. And I thank you so much for being here. And I thank you. I know more people will watch this after. So
Mhm.
I'm not concerned that there weren't a lot of viewers, because I know people deep down inside know that this is an important part of our own evolution to being the best version of ourselves. And folks, today's conversation is all about taking healthy back, taking your mental health back if you feel like you've lost it. And so happy to have had this conversation, Dan. And we'll see you all next week. Thank you.
Yes.
Take care.
Thank you, Maria.
You
Bye,
bet.
everyone.
This has been Taking Healthy Back with your host, Maria. Tune in each week as Maria will empower you to put your wellness in your control, right here, Fridays, noon Eastern, on the Bold Brave TV network.